Welcome to the Little Psychic Podcast, where grounded growth meets soul work. Limiting beliefs get bust wide open, and your intuition is cast as the secret weapon to leading the way in your life and business. I'm June Mack, Spirit Channel for Light Leaders, intuition coach, and not your average business mentor. My mission is to make working with spirit no longer something you have to hide for credibility, but something embraced as powerfully as business strategy. This podcast is more than words and conversations. It's an energetic activation, and we dive into all things spirituality, purpose, and soul-led entrepreneurship to align you with your highest frequency and help you understand why the hell you came here. If you're listening, this is not a coincidence, this is a call out. You came here with a mission, you came here to create an impact, and you are not here to play small. If you found me, you better be ready to remember. Oh my goodness, hi. I am so excited to be back hosting the Little Psychic Podcast. In case you didn't catch the giant new intro, I am your host, June Mack, intuition coach, spirit channel for the light leader, and business guide to the awakened entrepreneur. It has been 4 months, I think, since I recorded my last episode, so I would love to give you a little update. Elite, Psychic School Elite launched. Prior to this launch, actually, I was doing a lot of work around my self-worth, confidence, my capacity to be able to hold more clients. And that shadow work paid off because Elite was my biggest launch yet. And it was full of the most beautiful people. It's been actually pretty crazy 4 months. During this launch, about halfway through, I lost my family daycare worker. I don't mean lose. I mean, she just went on holiday for like 7 weeks. She was traveling Europe. I know, how rude. No, that's joking. She's amazing and she really deserved it. So, my literalist one was with me. So basically, a lot of the rhythm that I had built up in regards to getting the podcast episodes out regularly and all of that sort of just went out the window, and I was able to run Elite and all of that was done. But the reason why I stopped recording and had this awesome schedule of, okay, this is the day that I'm going to do social media posts. This is the day that I'm going to do my podcast. This is the day that I'm going to see clients. It got turned up to topsy-turvy, but you know what? It's okay because during those 8 weeks, I said 7 weeks, it turned out to be 8 weeks because then Joni was sick in the week that she came back. So literally this is her first day back at family daycare, and I only get 2 days and then 5 hours to myself where I can sort of pump things out when she goes to family daycare. So you can kind of see how things got turned on their head, but I don't regret it because she's the best baby ever and I had the most amazing time and I miss her so much. But in saying that, I was able to run Elite, and I feel like people's goals were achieved inside Psychic School Elite. So basically, if you don't know what that was a program that ran for 4 months, which was specifically for people who were intuitives, psychics, mediums, coaches, healers, but felt like they just couldn't get over that hump of actually being able to believe in themselves and get past the confidence issues to say that they are a psychic medium, or to launch their business and to actually do it professionally. And I feel like the people inside that group were able to achieve those goals. So I'm very happy with the outcome. They were taking big, bold action. They were booking podcasts. They were booking shows throughout the program. They were going and performing at psychic expos. They were in magazine editorials. They were pushing themselves out there. They were launching their business after years of sitting in development. They were finally having the courage to practice face-to-face readings because everyone was sort of at a different spot on their journey. Some people were not yet brave enough to do face-to-face readings and they were pushing themselves. And by the end of the program, those that stuck to it, they did it. And they should be so very, very proud because they did the work. But it actually made me realize that I do have a lot to offer in my coaching. And this is kind of where I'm at in my business, is from sort of that transition from doing, basically one-on-ones or just one-on-ones in terms of readings, and moving more so into helping people do this for themselves. And there's so much more that I have to offer, mindset stuff, being able to help you get out of your own way, being able to help you, to give you the steps to set up a strong foundation for your business. So anyway, without going into all of that, this is where my mastermind, by the time this episode comes out, I'm hoping that it is ready to go. And this is how you will be able to work with me to be able, if you are a conscious or awakened entrepreneur, you don't have to be a psychic medium, healer, coach, light leader. You can be someone who is in a muggle business, but also wants to add in the intuitive side, the energetic side, because let's face it, so much of it is our energetic. So much of it is our own bullshit that we just can't get out of the way of. And, also mixing that with strategy, because I'm also quite a grounded person and I understand how a business works. I've been able to go from working my muggle job to supporting my family on a full-time wage, working part-time hours. So I can help you do this. I remember back in the day, all I wanted was to be fully booked with clients, to be able to do my work, to see clients every day, to be fully booked. And I freaking did it. I did it. But now I'm making the transition to not be so fully booked in terms of just one-on-one. So basically readings have stepped back a bit. I will be channeling for my coaching students, but probably keeping the actual readings quite exclusive. So, which is really hard because I have people literally reaching out in my inbox every day asking me for readings, which I still absolutely love doing. But if I want to continue to grow and scale my business, I have to be able to see more than one person at a time, which is why the mastermind is here. And I'm very excited about that. But, okay, what else has been going on? Right after Elite finished, so that is now available to purchase as a evergreen program. So you can buy that as like a course to rewatch. But I don't think I'm going to run it again because I'm basically going to do the coaching that I did in there inside my mastermind. So if you want to watch it as a pre-recorded, you're a pre-recorded person, then that is available for you. That will be in the show notes. But so that just finished, that 16-week program. And then I had my book launch party for Remembering Grandpa because my book has also come out. Yay. So that came out on May 5th. Oh, wow. What a journey. What a journey. What a journey that was. But there is an episode actually coming out that I recorded with my co-author, Kelly and Norman. So that will be coming out very soon. I've actually got about 8 episodes pre-recorded, maybe 7 in the banks, but I just haven't had time to edit any of them. And I thought before I start like flipping out these episodes, I better update you as to what's been going on these past 4 months. So the book launch party, oh, it was the best night ever. It was so fun. I was so nervous. It was such a build up leading up to it. The organization was massive, just like adding that in there to all the things on top of. But it was like this beautiful glam event. Like in the past, I haven't run an event quite like this. And I really wanted it to be very glamorous. We had a red carpet. If you haven't seen the photos, jump onto my Instagram and have a look through the photos. Red carpet, we had a big media wall. We had signing tables. We had beautiful show bags that we gave to everybody. We had a professional photographer, and I just like kept seeing myself, or I have been seeing myself walking this red carpet for years. And sometimes it's like, I wonder, was this an actual clairvoyant image that they're showing me of what it is that I was capable of? Or did I just, want this and I manifested it? But I think it was more so a clairvoyantly type thing, right? Because I remember seeing it and I kept seeing it in my mind's eye and thinking like, well, I feel like people who walk red carpets are movie stars. I don't want to be a movie star. I've never been called to really act or anything like that. When am I going to walk this red carpet? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make my own bloody red carpet. And I decided that I was worthy of it. And I made my own red carpet. And lo and behold, like a week after the book launch party, I found out that I was a finalist in 2 categories in the Oz Mumpreneur Awards, which I could not believe it. I'm so pumped. I'm so excited. And guess what? I get to walk a red carpet at their gala, which is coming up in a couple of weeks from this recording, and it's going to be in Geelong at the Ridges Hotel, and it's a real fancy do. It's going to be a conference for a day. And then after the conference is the awards night gala. So there is a whole red carpet event with photographers. So it's like I just needed to decide that I was worthy of this. And then that actually did come in, and you can walk a red carpet without being a actress. So it seems. So that's happening. I also, so to apply for that was a big process. There were times when I was like, I can't fill in this application. So you have to get nominated. I got nominated by my beautiful virtual assistants, or one of them. So Chloe from Strategy and Soul, she nominated me. And then it's a pretty big, what's the word where you apply? Application process. And it was like, yeah, a lot of work went into that, a lot of writing. It's like an essay almost, and lots of questions that you have to answer about your business. And then, you get judged on that. And that's how I got put into the finalists. And so there is a judge's choice category and a people's choice category. So where you had to vote for me as well. So anyway, I will let you know how that turned out in a couple of weeks and whether or not I won or not. But it's just crazy. The people that are in that category are people like Sheila V. So I don't know if you guys watched Big Miracles on Channel 9. So she shared her IVF journey, but the reason why I actually really love Sheila V is because she's also a psychic medium and business mentor, and she does exactly what I want to do. She goes around at big speaking events. She's written a book. I really, really fangirl her, and we're actually in the same category for Author of the Year, which I'm just like, I have no words. I actually don't know what to say about that. There's also Jules, I think it's Jules London maybe, who was from Maths, who's now an amazing entrepreneur. Or did I just make that up? I know it's Jules, but I can't remember what her surname is. She's got the red hair. She's absolutely stunning, gorgeous. And she ended up, she's still with her partner from Maths. So anyone that watched that, she's also there. So there's some big names. What else? I signed up with a new business mentor, dropped 5K for 3 months to work with a mentor that I have been following for a really long time. And I actually, it's an investment. And, being a family of 5, it was a stretch, but I have never dropped 5K so easily with so much like conviction and belief and like excitement, because I had know that every time you invest in a mentor, or anytime I've invested in a mentor, and when you found the right one because you're just so excited to work with them and you're like, whatever, I will sell my car to make this work because I know you're going to help me hit next level. And that literally is what has happened every time I have worked with a mentor. I know that actually every single time it has been a stretch. Every single time has been a stretch on funds. But each time I've made my money back, because you stretch and you have someone who's going to hold you accountable, and someone that has walked the path that you want to walk. They are where you want to be. And I know that I need to step into this next level of a freedom-based business, which is like basically the next thing that I want to do is be able to help my husband to step back a bit from his work, and me to be able to step forward a little bit more, because I am working very much part-time hours, which I still would like to continue to do, because the hustle culture is dead. We do not need to go there. And both of us, we work we're so lucky to have created this businesses that we work the hours that suit us. But he still is, at times he can be quite, with the nature of the business that he does, he can be quite run down. He can be quite overworked. And I would like him to be able to take back a day, ideally, and be able to do some of the stuff that he loves, because he doesn't have any room. He wants to go to the gym. He wants to play with his cars more. He wants to do gardening. He doesn't have space for that. Whereas I still have some time for self-care, and he's really good at making sure I fit that in, because he knows that a mum who doesn't take care of themselves isn't the best mum partner. And so he's amazing at that. And I tried to convince him to fill in the time when there's time for himself. But I think, I don't know if it's a male thing or if it's a him thing. I think having an extra day for him to actually chill would be amazing. So to be able to get to this next stage where my husband can step back a little and I can move forward a little, now that the baby is a little bit bigger and she's a little bit more independent, and of course, like she'll probably just be with him anyway, which is really great because she's with us, either one of us, most of the time. But that's the next step that we want to get to, and in order to do that, things have got to change. So you can't. What's that saying where you can't expect different results by doing the same thing? So we need to mix it up. I need to create a different type of a schedule so that that's possible. And I need the right mentor to help me with that. I want to solidify the structure of my business a little bit more, get my systems in place a little bit tighter. I feel like my systems could be, a little bit more streamlined. So anyway, I'm really excited to work with this new mentor as well. We'll keep you updated on that. I felt like I've been shedding over these last 4 months, making so many transformations within myself. And that is also what I'm here to tell you about. So basically, this is the moral of this episode, is this crazy experience that I have had, which has been a level up in my channeling abilities. I've never channeled like this before. So I've channeled, I do all the time, goddesses, different light beings, extraterrestrials, and connected with their energy and been able to get what I needed. So I've had, for example, goddess Athena, who has come through. So she's a Greek goddess, who I actually don't know very much about, but she's come through and helped me with some things before. So when I say she's come through, it's like during meditation, they present themselves. I've had goddess Lakshmi, who was helping me with abundance. I very often have had goddess Isis, and I know that I've got a very strong connection with goddess Isis and to Egypt. But let me tell you about this next level experience that I've had. So I think over the past few months, I've had this new energy that has been trying to come in, and little bits and pieces have sort of been, it's almost like parts of me have been upgrading and they've been integrating in, is the easiest way that I can explain it. So the bits and pieces, so I've been drawn towards these new branding colors. So this maroon color, like this red that I'm wearing today, more of like a sensual type color, golds, blacks, which I've never liked these types of colors before. I'm thinking, oh no, not another branding change, because I change my branding like every 6 months. But I'm like, no, I am not vibing the purple so much anymore. And these colors have just been, I've been so drawn to them. I've been wanting to get back into my dancing. I am a pole dancer, or have been pole dancing since when? Since my oldest, since before my second was born, and then up and down in between babies. I always say, quick pause, little psychics. If you'd like to check out all the ways we can work together to ignite your intuition or step it up in your mission and create the business and life of your dreams, head to the link in my show notes. Or don't forget, you can always reach out via DMs over on Instagram at Ms. June Mac. Now let's get back to the episode. I'm going to be able to pole dance, while I'm pregnant, because there are some absolutely amazing goddesses who actually do that, and they're insane. I am too sick during my pregnancy, so think about spinning around on a pole and being nauseous. That would not work out pretty. I tried with Joni's third pregnancy as well, and I think I got about 6 weeks into my pregnancy. For me, the vomit starts around 7 weeks, and I was like, oh no, I can't do this. So anyway, being drawn back into that as well. Have been seeing little bits. So like snakes, right, have been showing up in all of my dreams. And I've been dreaming about snakes for a while. And I used to think that it was like a bad omen, that something bad was coming, or to be wary. And I have actually realized now, and I started liking them. I was like, had this like attraction towards snakes. I'm like, oh, they're not so bad. And then I realized that they actually signify transformation. And they're trying to tell me, like, as much as you're trying to put this off or be afraid of this, it's happening. The transformation is happening. So I've been seeing snakes. I've been dreaming about snakes. So all these bits and pieces have been flowing in. I have been listening to stuff about Egypt. I was listening to this podcast that was talking a little bit about goddess Isis. And so goddess Isis is the one with the wings. I am not an expert in any of this Egyptian mythology, but I know little bits and pieces. I sort of try to stick to the information that I channel, because I don't want my mind to be tainted by literally when you Google something or Wikipedia, there's like 20 different interpretations and different stories that have taken place. So I sort of like to go by the information that I get intuitively and just run with that. But I was listening to this podcast about Isis and her husband Osiris. So they are often signifying the masculine and feminine energies, very much so. So I won't go into too much about that, but Goddess Isis is someone that has, from the first clairvoyant images that I had been receiving, has one of the first goddesses that presented herself to me before I even know who she was. And I was always drawn to, so Rihanna actually has a tattoo of Isis under her boobs. And I remember, and I love wings. I've got wings on my back. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like that is the most beautiful tattoo without even knowing who it was. And then bits and pieces coming through in my meditation going, what is this beautiful woman with these giant wings who just keeps power posing in front of me? And yeah, presenting herself. So anyway, I did some research, found out it's Goddess Isis, was drawn towards her again and her husband Osiris. And then I heard about that they had a son called Horus. And I thought, I'm going to look up a little bit about Horus. I found out that he was the one with the falcon head. He is also the Eye of Horus. You might have seen in Egyptian hieroglyphs, which also has come through to me before in meditation, before I knew what that was, which is usually like a protection symbol, and a lot of people use that as protection. So I've also, like, during this time off, been battling with, when moving into this next level in my business, I've been battling with like, oh, my business is doing really well. My relationship has never been better. I'm just obsessed with my husband. Still, we've been together for like, I think it's 2003. So it would be 22 years we've been together for. And I still miss him all the time. I don't want to make you sick, like when he goes to work. And we still have this really amazing relationship. I'm just obsessed. I think we're obsessed with each other in a good way, I hope. I have 3 beautiful girls, and I'm just so grateful for them and everything that I have. And I've been battling with the fact that if I am going to go to the next level in my business, the limiting belief that something else has to suffer. So then, like, am I not going to be as present a mother if I step it up a bit more in my business? Am I going to miss the time with my girls? Am I then going to be away from them too much? Is my relationship going to suffer? So I've been battling with this, I think, being able to get to this, like, ultimately self-sabotaging myself from getting to this next level because I have these limiting beliefs that, like, well, I can't have everything, which, by the way, I know that you can, but this is, what I'm dealing with. And so anyway, so that's what I have been going through to get to this next level. So basically, one day I had some time to myself. I went to meditate. It was sunny. I went to meditate in the sun under this tree at Lilydale Lake, which is near where I go. I always go there. My dad used to take us there as kids, and it's just a place that I always go. It's got like awesome vibes. Anyway, went and sat under a tree, and with no intention of channeling anything, like just to meditate, just to sit there and chill, basically. And I was thinking about, Horus, as you do, the son of Isis and Osiris. So I am sitting there meditating, and all of a sudden it's like I kept seeing Goddess Isis again and hearing the word mother. Like, this is like, she is your mother, or this knowing that she is my mother. And that my husband was Horus. And so I was like, hang on a minute. I know that Horus is, so this is just my analytical mind. Horus is Isis's son. So that must be my mother-in-law. And it was like the way that I was channeling this, and I've heard about this, but I'd never experienced it before, that I'd really connected with this energy, had come in, and I'd connected with her as if I was her. So the best way that I can explain it is almost like in Ghost, when Patrick Swayze goes into Whoopi Goldberg's body and she's like, she's him. So she still has her body. It's still her, but I was taken over by this energy. I could feel her like overtake me. It was like not really scary, but a little bit. I was a little bit taken aback. And so what was coming through was that this was my husband. We had this amazing love affair. Horus was my husband. I knew that we had had a son. I knew that this son lived, and I knew that I was very powerful. I knew that we had also had a daughter which had been lost. I felt like she'd been either miscarried quite late on in the pregnancy, like a stillborn, or maybe just born and passed away not long after. I couldn't quite figure it out, but it was almost like I could feel her grief of this. I could feel her like strength and like her sensuality and her knowledge and her connection to spirit and her power. I just feel like the biggest like weirdo even sharing this with you, but I could feel all of that. And yeah, it was like I had all of this in my lifetime. People worshipped me, and I'm not saying that I'm her. I'm saying because I know that every person says, "Oh, I was Princess Diana in a past life," or "I was Cleopatra," and I'm not saying that that's what it is. I'm just that's what was happening. I'm just saying that this is what it felt like, that I was her, and I've never felt an energy overtake me like this before. And I was like questioning, like, well, so what does this mean? Does this mean that my husband is Horus? And then they were like, no. It was very strong. No, it's not Horus, but you've got this energy in you right now, and she's ready to work with you and ready to help you. So I felt like who she is had all this power, had all this strength, had everything that she wanted. She's got all this abundance. She was a goddess. She was like bad bitching it. She had the family. She had the husband. She had it all. So this energy had come in to help me with this next phase. So anyway, after I snapped out of it, like it went for much longer, right? But I just like can't remember what else happened, because sometimes when you're channeling information, it comes through and then you just forget. So because it's not you, right? So anyway, then I went and I was like, what the hell just happened? And every time I opened my eyes, so I'd open my eyes, but I'd blink and I could see her. I could see her eyes like staring back at me. I could feel her. I've never felt this before. And I was looking up in my phone, I started Googling, and I was like, okay, so did Horus have a wife? And I actually found he did, and her name was Hathor. So Hathor. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he did have a wife. And they had a son. So yes, they had a son who ended up, I forgot his name, but he ended up taking over, and he was the rightful heir to the throne because he was Horus's son. I forgot his name. But anyway, her name was Hathor. And she was the goddess of love, beauty, dance, motherhood, sensuality, fertility, joy, the protector of the afterlife. She was the guider of souls that went into the afterlife, which I'm thinking about my mediumship, and I was thinking about all these readings that I've had before that people have told me, like, in between lifetimes, you help souls to transition. You help souls go from, the 3D reality back into the 5D reality. And it's funny because it's death and people passing is something that I've always been comfortable around. And people often come to me before I was even a medium or understood that I was a medium, and would feel comfortable around discussing when they'd had a loss or what happened, and I would help them, understand or might just share my beliefs and what I believe was happening. And so Hathor had this bracelet that she would wear, and that would help keep her in this world. Otherwise, if she took her bracelet off, she would go back to the afterlife and go back to like helping the souls like transition. So I saw that she had the big sun disk on her head. She also sometimes depicted with a cow's head. So if you actually look her up, and the cow's horns, and it's like this, it looks like a crescent moon thing that she would wear on her head, but upside down. So sort of like facing upwards. And it's so funny because I've been drawn to this symbol my entire life. Like I have necklaces with the moon facing upwards, even to the point where I would face crescent moons upwards. And my mother-in-law would say, I think that's supposed to be bad luck. Like, should you be facing a crescent moon that way? And I'm like, no, I like it up this way. And so she wears this thing on her head. And I've always been drawn to the same sort of headdress or goddess headdress. So look it up if you can find it. There's some beautiful pictures. I put actually a background on my phone of what she looks like. and everything. And so her colors, this burgundy red, gold, and black. She is also the goddess of dance and fertility and motherhood and sensuality and all this stuff that I've been feeling like integrating over the past few months. And this is her. So basically, what I feel like in a rundown has been happening is that her energy has been integrating with mine. And going back to that day, it has never felt as strong as that initial almost like take over. Like, okay, we're going to step in now. Like, we've been slowly integrating in, like, no more of this bullshit. We're going to fully like take over. And I was like, I felt so different, especially in, that day or those hours after it happened. Like, every time I know I said it before, but I can still see it. Every time I blinked, I could just see her eyes staring back at me. And it was like, I just felt so different, and I still feel different, but I feel like that initial like takeover energy is sort of stepped back. And I've never had an experience like this before. Like, I've had heaps of crazy shit happen to me. Like, I don't think I talk about it enough. I always tell stuff to my husband and he's like, oh, babe, you've got to do like more podcast episodes on this. You've got to do like write a book and include all your experiences, because, I've made contact with extraterrestrials, just wild stuff, like through meditation, and like channeled some pretty cool info. I wake up all the time and I've got random spirits next to my bed, and just stuff that comes through during readings, and then just wild stuff. But I've never had an integration as intense as this before. So even after it happened, it was like I couldn't talk about it. I felt like I couldn't speak. When something happens and you just have to process. It was like 2 days before I could even tell my husband about it, because I was like, oh my God, something crazy happened. I need to tell you, but I need time to like process. 2 days before I could even talk about it. And over those 2 days, it was like she was still there. I could still feel her, but her integration had been more so there. It wasn't as like, I want to say brutal, but it wasn't brutal. It wasn't brutal because didn't feel bad. It wasn't as intense, probably is the best way to say it. So anyway, before I knew that it was Hathor, I had been calling this stage like Phoenix, like rising from the ashes, coming out again, like totally different. And I know that she's there. And when I need to work with her, I can call on her to make her energy even more so powerful. And I know she's changed me on an energetic cellular level. My abilities, my channeling has been next level, and my belief in the fact that I can have it all. It's not quite there yet, but it's getting there. And one more thing before I go as well, I have to say that to like confirm all of this, I had a reading with Mark from Salt, Light, and Soul. So I activated him, just taking the, I wonder if he's listening, the kudos for that. He started working with me, I think 2023. Oh, maybe, yeah, 2023. And he is an amazing healer. He actually has member of the Little Psychic School, graduate of my one-on-one work, mentoring. And he has an episode actually coming up. So one of the ones that I've recorded, I've done with him just to share his story as well. But I had a reading with him, and he basically confirmed a lot of the information that came through. So around, he didn't know it was Hathor, but a goddess that has come through. He explained how she looked, and the energy that she was bringing forth, and the integration that was happening. And yeah, that spirit was all behind this integration. And I wish I recorded that. I wish I recorded that reading, actually, because the way he described it and the integration that happened was better than the way I probably just described it in this episode now. So I wish I remembered the words, but it was just crazy. I remember saying to my husband, oh my God, he pretty much just confirmed everything that I feel like has been happening to me over the last couple of months. And yeah, and then I asked him afterwards, because I couldn't speak very much again, processing and integrating. after that reading, and I asked him afterwards, do you think who you were connecting with, who he said, he explained it like replacing the grids or the like square by square in my DNA from like old DNA into the upgrade with this new goddess or new energy. And yeah, it was so cool. And I said, do you think this goddess that you are talking about is Hathor? And he was like, yeah, I think so. So yeah, that sort of just confirmed it all. So basically that's what's been happening with me. I hope that you've enjoyed my little information about Egypt. I also wanted to say, so about her daughter, which I can't believe I almost forgot this, about her daughter, I looked it up and I couldn't find anywhere reference to Hathor having a daughter. And then I also got the information during that channeling session that she had lost a daughter. And the reason why I've been blessed with many daughters in this lifetime was because to do with the fact and to experience, you know, like raising the feminine, because she didn't get to experience in that lifetime, or maybe she's doing that through me while we're working together, or experiencing that while we're working together. But from my research, there was a crypt that was found of a tomb of a daughter of Hathor and Horus that had a necklace in it and remains, but it said on it, daughter, you know, it said daughter of, I think, oh gosh, I've forgotten. It was like daughter of the king and queen, basically, or god and goddess, or Horus, but it didn't have an actual name on it. And there was no other records of this daughter being born anywhere, but there was a tomb. So that kind of went hand in hand with the information that I had channeled around losing a daughter at some point very early on. So there was a tomb and jewelry for her, but no other records or information on her existence. So for me, I was like, oh my gosh, like the information that was coming through, you know, marries up with this. So a lot of the info that I had channeled when I looked it up, which I can't remember it all now, but when I looked it up and Googled it, it all married up, which was pretty crazy. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my little trip back to Egypt and me telling you about what's been going on with me, my little update. I hope that you enjoy all the upcoming episodes. I hope that you love the new branding. I hope that you love the new cover to the podcast, and I can't wait for you to hear all the guests that we've got coming up. There's some really amazing guests. So yeah, I'm so excited to get into this with you, and thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for listening to the Little Psychic Podcast. You can follow me over at Ms. June Mac on all social media, or work with me via junemac.com. I would be so grateful if you love this episode for a follow and a review over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It's been an absolute privilege to be in your